Alright, so a lot of you wanted to see the full-size classic oven mitt from AccuQuilt, so that's what we're going to make today. Now this project has been out for a while, and I have made it before, but I'm going to show you just how quick and easy this project can be. As you can see, there's only one shape on the die board, so it's pretty simple. Once again, I have pre-quilted my fabric. I have a layer of cotton batting, then a layer of Insulbright batting, and then my fabric. I don't have a backing piece on here because, again, we're going to make a separate lining piece so that there is no raw edges inside of the mitt. And since we have many layers that we're working with here, I am going to cut one at a time. So I'm just going to lay it down and make sure that my piece is covered, and then send it through. Now, an important thing to remember is this is a directional shape. So we cut this one fabric side up, which means we need to cut this one fabric side down. So we should have mirror images. While I have the cutter out, I'm also going to cut out my lining. So I just have a piece of fabric folded in half so I can get my two layers. And then I actually used the Mini Oven Mitt die to cut out this little loop here, but you can just cut it with a rotary cutter. All right, so we have our outer shell, we have our lining and our loop, so now we can sew the pieces together. On the outer shell and the lining, we are just going to start here, sew all the way around, and end here, leaving this bottom part open because that's where you put your hand in. Got those sewn. Now I can turn the outer shell right side out. When you're sewing these together, make sure that you back tack at both ends. That way when you're turning it right side out, you don't lose your stitches. I did add the hanging loop on this end right here with the thumb so that it hangs a little more natural looking. If you put the loop over on this side, it would hang like that. So it's a personal preference, but that's where I put mine. Now the lining we're going to leave wrong side out. We can just insert it here. And then all we have to do is bind the bottom edge and we're done. So we're going to do the binding very similar to a quilt. I have a 2.5 inch strip that's been pressed in half, and I am just going to line up the raw edges and sew it to the outside. But instead of trying to fuss with a 45-degree join, I'm going to start at this seam here, work my way around, and when I get back to that point, I'm just going to do a straight 90-degree seam to join the two ends. Then I'll flip it to the inside and stitch it down. All done. And now we have a cute little trio for the kitchen.